If you're looking at assignment number 3 and finding yourself a little confused about what you're supposed to do, you're not alone. This assignment tends to trip people up, and the reason is that it's hard to understand what I mean in words, and I have a hard time explaining it. It's a lot easier to show you in this video, actually. In order to understand what's going on, we need to understand a little bit about what Python does and how it treats data types. And of course, you need to start understanding what I mean by data types. So the first thing you need to know is that Python can automatically set data types. And the reason I bring that up is because other languages, C++ or Java, you must declare or tell the computer data types. It doesn't automatically do that. So in Python, if I want to say giraffes equals 3, it will do that. It'll make a variable and it will say, okay, that's 3. And Python can say, what is 3? 3 is an integer. So I'm not going to worry, I understand an integer. In C++, you would have to actually say int giraffes equals 3, and that tells the computer that you can only use integers. Like giraffe is an integer and can only be an integer. So Python has this kind of automatic detection thing because it's a little bit more advanced. There's more going on underneath what we see that we don't have to worry about. But in other languages, you do have to come up with those things yourself. So you might say, okay, so what's the big deal? I can make this variable and it's an integer. So why do I care if Python's going to take care of it? The problem is that there's plenty we do in coding where you do run into problems if you don't understand the data types that Python is working with. And so you, even though Python knows automatically what's going on, you need to understand what's going on to get it to work. So this assignment said make 4 different data types. The first type would be giraffes, right? So, well, not giraffes, integers, which I'm using giraffes. And maybe I would say print and put in here like I saw giraffes. And so that's going to print out I saw 3 giraffes, right? What I'm more interested in showing you in this one is that we can print out the type of the variable giraffes. And what that does is it says, okay, what is this data type? And then tell me on the screen what it is. So when I run this, I forgot a comma. So when I run this, it tells me that giraffes are of class integer, right? So just like C++ says it's an integer, so does Python. It's just that it does it automatically. So there's 4 data types that you should be creating for this particular project and that you should understand here at the beginning. So the first one is an integer. The second one could be a string. So let's just say you're making a thing about, your program is going to be about a safari that you went on. And so you say, okay, well, the country that I did my safari in was Zimbabwe. I think that's how you spell Zimbabwe. So look what happens then when I say type country. And when you run that, the computer says that that was a string, right? I didn't print any information about Zimbabwe. I just said, what type of data is this? Now, you don't need to print this in this assignment. I'm just explaining to you what's going on. So that's a key thing to note. I don't want a bunch of these just typed out. I want actual data and actual sentences like this one. I'm just showing you what's going on behind the scenes. So let's say that you're on your Safari and you say, well, how many zebra did I see? Well, I happen to see, not a whole number of zebra. I saw like 14 zebras, but then I saw a dead zebra being eaten by some vultures. So I saw 14 and a half zebra. So now that I have a decimal in there, what data type is that one? So I can run that. And when I run this, should be the third one. The first one, giraffes, was an integer. The second one, countries, was a string. And the third one, decimal points of zebras, was a float, right? So I could put some notes here and I could say this is a real number. Real number meaning a floating point decimal. That's what computers call them. This one is, this is a string. No, wait, this is text, and the computer calls that a string. And this is an integer, and computers call those integers, or int for short. And then there's one other one, and it's the Boolean. So let's just say I ask a question: did I have fun? And the answer is true. So that's how I set a Boolean variable, and I just need to make sure I capitalize the T, and then it will tell you here that it's a capital, so it's a special keyword because it turned orange. If I did this, it wouldn't work, so it has to be capital. And then if I print what is the type for fun, I would get bool. Okay, so just like integers, that's a short word. So this is a Boolean, and then the word that they would use to shorten it is just bool. So those are your 4 data types. In this assignment, you just have to make a variable of each one and then print some statement about each one. Okay?